What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Knowing is Knowing. I'm your host, Rashad Young, and as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Today, I have Andre Ellington, who is a journalist out of Detroit. We dive into his story, how he got into journalism, the space of writing, AI, all those great things, man. It was a super dope conversation. We even get a little bit into hip hop, man, just about his taste in hip hop and a little bit of my taste in hip hop as well. Make sure to check out his stuff. Again, this was a very dope conversation. I'm always inspired by people who do different things in different ways. So his information will be in the episode description. Much love to you, Andre, and make sure to continue to support him. And I'll be continuing supporting you, man. And enjoy the episode, guys. Until next time, peace.
He got a real sophisticated name. So I'm like, this man must be doing something. So I looked it up, and I'm gonna allow you to kind of get into that, man. So kind of give you a little bit of a overview of what I like to do with these is I like to pretty much have people express themselves in their story. Humanize people in a way that I feel like is important to them. 'Cause I know, like in our life, a lot of us always ask, what do we do? How do we
Yeah, of
get there? But
course.
we don't necessarily connect the story to that. Like we always kind of focus on the final product. So my
True.
question to you, like I asked everybody else, who are you to the world?
That's a good question. Man, I am a creative to the world. I think for me, I always knew that I was a creative since I was a child. You probably came from the same background as me, but growing up, we had these boxes that we had to fit in. It's like you play basketball, you
Yeah.
play football, you go outside and you play tag and stuff like that. And I did a little of that as well, but for me, like I always knew that I loved drawing, I loved music, I loved studying newscast, I loved behind the music from back in the day. So for me, like I look at myself as an all-around creative, and that's what I offer to the world, and not just from a professional perspective, but that's what I bring to my family. That's what I bring to my friendships. I'm a creative, man, and everything else stems from there.
Yeah. No, that's real, man. I think being a creative, the biggest thing we don't want to do is be boxed in. It is
Yes, sir.
literally our I won't say it's a kryptonite, but it's the quickest way to get people to walk away.
It
The
is.
moment the moment you feel like you box me in is like the moment that I'm like, okay, this isn't for me. So
Yeah.
take me to your journey of being a creative, and I'm assuming in so many different talents. What was the first thing that appealed to you? Was it drawing? Was it media? Was it sports? Like, how do we get to where we are today? What are we doing today? The path of that stuff.
Yeah, sure. So the first medium for me was drawing. I would see things, I would see billboards as a kid, I would see stuff on TV, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm seeing this. Let me go ahead and break out a pencil and a piece of paper and see if I can interpret what it is that I'm seeing. So
Yeah.
everything for me starts at like that focal point of drawing. I was drawing everything from kitchen utensils to cartoons to my mom to my sister. I had a
Mm.
book in the early 2000s of like all of my drawings. I kept that for a long time because for me, again, that was just a way to express myself, and then music started to come into play around 2006. I became a pianist by ear. I taught
Okay.
myself how to play piano by ear. Not that I have anything against reading music. I just was like, man, I ain't trying to read all these notes and whatnot. I'll go ahead and teach myself. I ain't,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and it's aspects of the technicality of it all that makes it cool. But I was like, man, I just want to get started doing this. So I was
Mm.
doing that in elementary school, and that led me to going to a performing arts school here in Detroit. And around that time, my
Oh.
parents got me some DJ equipment. So I started DJing and mixing music, and I had the keyboard already right there. So I was
Mm.
doing a lot of that throughout high school because my high school was like the ghetto glee. Everybody had some type of talent. This person was playing the trombone, but this person was from the hood, right? This
Yeah.
person was playing the cymbals, this person was a singer, this person was an artist. So for
Mm.
me, like that gave me a chance to like really spread my wings, make some lifelong connections that I still have to this day.
Mm.
And I just think that that was an opportunity for me to really express who I was because I was looking for that place. Again, growing up, I had all of these avenues where I could have went into in sports and, making sure that I was trying to be a part of certain avenues. But I was like, man, I just want to blaze my own path. And that came in high school.
Yeah.
So right around the time when I started to think about going to college, my mother said, I think you should pursue journalism. Now, again,
Mhm.
I came up reading news, studying elections, like watching late night newscasts. But I didn't really
Mhm.
think about like a path to journalism. I was just like, well, damn, I was like, what are you saying journalism out of all this is what I'm doing. Like I'm doing all of
Right.
this already.
Yeah.
But, she put the bug in my ear. But before I went to college, I spent a lot of time at my good cousin Aunt Fiddler's house. And I didn't know who he was until I got like older. But
Mm.
he was the guy that mentored Slum Village. He was the guy that taught Jay Dilla how to make music.
Oh
So once I
wow.
found that out, I was like, so this is in my blood. Like this is not even just the situation no more where I just stumbled into this. This is
Yeah.
kind of like on some life path type stuff. I'm like, all
Right.
right, cool. So I go to college, I get into journalism full throttle. Because for me, I'm the type of person that just jump in 2 feet. Like I didn't even think about it. Uh, I looked up and I was writing for the school newspaper. I'm like, how I get here? You know what I'm saying? I'm running around campus and covering events and talking to people, putting my phone in people's faces to get quotes.
Yeah.
And I started doing a lot of internships. I think I did about 8 internships in like a 2 year span.
Sheesh.
Because for me, I was like, if this is what I really want to do, I have to get all the experience that I can in the world in like right here, right now. And I ended up sacrificing my college career for the sake of doing all of those internships, covering events on campus, covering events around the city that I'm from. And all of that led me to creating my own writing service in 2017 because I was like, all right, I done did a lot of internship stuff. My career is taking off, but I don't think people really know about media. And I was doing like papers and stuff early in my career for people, and it would drop the essays off, and had me edited. And so I was already kind of doing the
Everything.
intangibles like a couple of
Yeah.
years prior,
Yeah.
but I put it all together with this writing service that's now called Wade's Branding and Marketing. And
Hmm.
at the time I just named it after myself, Andre J. Ellington Services. And I was doing biographies. I was, doing interviews, connecting with publicists. I was pretty much kind of like a one-stop shop. And around
Yeah.
this time, I started writing for Rolling Out, so that was going well. And then I said to myself in like 2018, you know what? I kind of want to get into more of the breaking news side of things. Started
Yeah.
in entertainment, but then I said I want to have a crossover. I don't want to just be known as the music guy. So around 2019, I started writing for my local newspaper, and then that took me into the pandemic. And then I really started doing a lot of coverage on the Trump administration, COVID,
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
lot of vaccine stuff, statistics. And
Yeah.
then all of that led me to working for Newsweek, which was like crazy. I'm like, I'm from Detroit. I'm
Yeah.
like in at Newsweek. This is
That's
crazy.
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then while at Newsweek, for me, I'm like forward thinking. I'm like, all right, bet. I got Newsweek. What can I get next? So then I saw an opportunity for HuffPost. And then I ended
Yeah.
up joining HuffPost breaking news team a few months later. And then I was
Jeez.
really like, all right, we cooking now. Like I'm on this breaking news team and doing big
Mhm.
stories on crime and politics and the
Mhm.
community.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, all right, cool. I want to get back into music. So I started writing for Hip Hop DX. So I did
Mhm.
that for a few months. And then
Mhm.
after that, I said, all right, I'm gonna come back home. And I started writing for a hyper local newspaper here in Flint, Michigan. And
Okay.
since then, man, I've just been mentoring journalists, learning about artificial intelligence and how that's affecting my business and how that's
Yep.
affecting the industry that I'm in. And
Mhm.
I got a pretty big contract on the table right now that I can't talk about, but it's gonna be another game changing move. You know what I'm saying? If all goes well.
Yeah. Well, first off, man, wow. That's a journey. And also, you're from Detroit, man.
Yes, sir.
You're like the third or fourth person I've interviewed from Detroit. I'm from St. Louis,
Really?
so that's context.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm born and raised in St. Louis. My mentor actually, he lives in Detroit right now, man. Shout out to Dr. Jim, somebody I met about a year ago. So I got a lot of love for
That's
Detroit, man.
crazy.
Yeah, no, I feel
Nice.
like I feel like it's like some divine intervention.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
feel
some
like that has
serendipity for sure.
yeah, because I'm like, this was a third or fourth brother from Detroit, man. I have nothing but respect for Detroit. I like to say Detroit, Memphis, and St. Louis all are relatively similar
I
as
agree.
far as the size of the city, the loyalty to the city. Because one thing I give y'all, man, y'all rock Detroit like no other, man. But I feel like
Yeah, we
we the
really
same way
loyal.
here. So that's interesting because of the route you took. You didn't take the traditional, to me, I could be wrong, the traditional journalistic, go to school for 4 years. Uh, some people like one of my good brothers, man. He's a little bro of mine. He graduated at Mizzou with me. He did something in Coastal Carolina. Then he did stuff with the Chiefs
Oh,
in
wow.
KC for about 4 or 5 years, and now he's back in Atlanta where he's from, covering the Braves, the Hawks, etc. But the point is though, like his route was unique, where he started in this middle of nowhere city, had to figure it out. And no, I know
Yeah.
sports is his route. Your route is kind of like all over the place, man. Where you're doing new, which I enjoy because I think that shows the desire to just continue to elevate yourself. Nothing wrong with one
Yeah.
track journalists to me, but I think it takes a very unique skill to put yourself in those different boxes, to learn about politics, to learn about breaking news all the time, which I'm sure you got to be ready on a fly anytime
All the
anything
time.
comes out. Doing Hip Hop DX, which we're going to talk about rap in a second. Can I know that? That's good.
Yes,
But
sir. Yes, sir.
that says a lot, man. So I guess in those experiences, what was the biggest thing you learned in all these different spaces? Because those are pretty credible sources. Like, what are
Thanks,
some
man.
things you learned being in those spaces?
Oh man, the biggest thing I learned is like people don't really care about all of these things that you can talk about and how eloquent you are. They really care about the skill set. Like that's what really like separates people. What I see nowadays with podcasts, what I see with people who want to be journalists, that they are getting away from the tradition that's associated with this. Like when you
Yeah.
enter into this space, you have to be non-biased. You have to be objective. Like
Hmm.
all of this taking side stuff, like that's not a part of the tradition. And for
Hmm.
me, I just took that skill set that I had learned in college and I just duplicated it in each and every space that I went into. I would go to
Yeah.
my professor's office hours and like I'll sit across from him, just fire off questions. A lot of my professors had books on media literacy and communications and journalism that they had actually wrote. So I would be
Yeah.
sitting with the book asking questions like, all right, so how did you come up with this? How did you come up with that? So for me, like the skill set and like never having a stagnant mindset for me has like taken me far and is continuing to have me in this business because I know a lot of people that I started off with who are no longer here for whatever reason. And I've had those moments where I was like, nah, then we'll go ahead and hang it up. As recent as 6 months ago, I'm like, nah, I'm done with this. But each time I say I'm done, like God in the universe pull me back and like, no, you're not done. Like here go another client. No, you're not done. Here go another
Yeah.
contract. Like I
Yeah.
try to leave, but it's like, nah, it's still so many other levels that I have to get to in this
Yeah.
business. And for me, whatever is continuing to chase me, I'm gonna chase it. And that's what it's been for me with media and lit and journalism, honestly.
Yeah. So talk to me about that wanting to walk away feeling. I think anybody who does anything, especially creatively, you don't feel like you're getting the fruits of your labor, or you don't feel like there's a another ceiling to get to. Uh, what was it for you that made you feel like you were done? Like, did you just feel like there was nothing else to accomplish, or do you just was it a mental thing?
Well, I was fired from my last job. Like that's where it started for me. You
Sorry, sorry,
know what
I
I'm saying? It
didn't
was a
expect
cushy
that.
job. Yeah, I was fired from my last job. It was It was a great opportunity, cushy remote job. And when I was
Yeah.
fired, I started to have imposter syndrome because all of these people that I came up with, who were still in the business, they started to get these new opportunities.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, was I a DEI hire? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this all a fluke? Have I been wasting my time? Like these, it was this mental battle I was having with myself for a few months because, when the
Yeah.
phone started ringing, like you start to question yourself as if
Right.
it's not the intangibles that you had and the tangibles that got you to the place that you were. So for
Right.
me, I started experiencing a lot of that for a few months. I got fired in August. So I think all the way throughout the holidays, I was experiencing this. And then I
Yeah.
had a conversation with my best friend Marquise. We was at a bar. And he was like, bruh, like you got unfinished business, man. And he started like really cutting into me at the bar in a very
Hey.
respectful way. Like he wasn't cussing me out. He was just like, dog, I know you. Like it's time to get back to it. And I
Yeah.
was like, bet. So after that, I started a blog on Medium called Andre's Perspective. And for me,
Mm.
that is my place to just let loose and be
Yeah.
creative. A lot of people, they know my work and they've seen me, and I've interviewed pretty much anybody and everybody there is in Detroit that's in my age range, but
Yeah.
I wanted to showcase a different aspect of my personality that I probably wasn't able to do so when I was at a lot of these other corporations. So I'm talking about imposter syndrome, getting enough rest, having a family, and I'm even talking about, a little music here and there, R&B, how that's changed. And I said to myself at that time when I created it in February, like this is for me. I'm creating for me now. I'm not creating for like nobody else. I've been there, done that. I don't care if something get 5 likes. I don't care. Like I'm just creating because I got so much I need to get out of me. And if I
Yeah.
let other people's perspectives and attitude dictate how I want to create, then I'll never let nothing leave my flash drive or my Gmail account. So for
Hmm.
me, like I've gotten back into a space where like I'm just putting stuff out and I'm
Yeah.
keeping it going. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm excited about right now, man.
No, I love that, bro. It's always funny when we have like this. It's always a weird epiphany or your friend that like tell you straight like in the
Bro,
midst of a bar. Like it is the funniest thing. I hear every story of like this weird come to Jesus moment. There's something involving a bar and a friend going in. Like it happens every
he was
time.
the come to Jesus moment. And if I can, I want to shout out my guy Marquise. I want to shout out
Oh,
all my
shout out to him.
homies.
Yeah.
But Marquise, he was the guy because he's in the social media and he sees stuff I don't see.
Hmm.
He was just like, dog, come on, let's get back to it, man. Like, what we doing here? And I'm
Hmm.
like, that's better in my back. I'm like, all right, bet. It's on. I think I
Yeah.
had something out that night when we left the bar. I just posted something, and because I didn't want to wait.
Yeah, no, I think yeah, I feel like I at least with my friends too. Shout out to my boys. We have that convo all the time. I'm a two things. I mean, one thing is very true is imposter syndrome is very real. Uh
Absolutely.
and I mean, depending on the industry, there you can always feel challenged that your work is in comparison to somebody else. And we're also men,
Mm,
which makes it more unique. I'm a not a therapist. I'm not a fully licensed therapist yet, but that's the route I'm in. So like I talk about this
nice.
type of stuff all the time. So it's like, yeah, it's especially as men in these spaces, as much as we act like we don't compare ourselves or pocket watch or anything. It is a natural thing that we deal with, especially when there's a circumstance like ours where you randomly get fired or let go, or your boy just got something amazing happen, but you know how he is out here
Yep.
in the streets, and it's like, how does he get that? It's like it's a weird thing to explain, but it's so true.
Yeah, it's
And
real,
then yeah,
man.
to have that moment where you have that conversation and you just kind of fire off. I'm actually glad to hear that somebody else use Medium. I used Medium for a while, and then I was just kind of like, I don't know, like Medium, because there was moments where I'm like, okay, I can see why people use Medium,
Yeah.
but at that point in time, I don't think I've truly ever given Medium a full shot. Like there's moments where I feel like I had some great things. At that point in time, it was just like empty thoughts that was in my head, or poetry or whatever, but to actually take it serious as a blog, if you've been doing that, man, I salute you on that, man, because you know
Thanks, man.
it's a grind, especially again, as much as we act like the numbers and things don't matter,
Bruh,
they do play a role when you just think, especially think you drop something fire. I can
what?
imagine you think you got something good going on, man, and all you got is
Yeah.
one view or one like, you know, it can do something to your mental. It can.
No, facts. Facts. And real quick, I've had
Yeah.
to in many ways try to divorce that mindset because especially in writing, one of my writing homies, he just did the cover of Rolling Stone for Lil Wayne. Like he did a
That's
whole,
dope.
he spent the yeah, man, he spent a lot of time with Lil Wayne and it went up, it went viral, and I congratulated him because I'm always celebrating other people's success. It's
For
never
sure.
really about other people, it's really about me. I'm like, dog, damn, I'm posting this got 5 views. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I gonna do with this? You
Right,
know what I'm
right, right.
saying? But just keeping it in my mind, like, just cool on the numbers, because you never know what'll pop off.
No,
You never
definitely.
truly know.
Yeah, the consistency matters.
Yeah,
Since we're in that space kind of with music,
yes,
and
sir.
you done stuff with music, I gotta see where you stand at in today's I don't want to say today's era. I'm gonna take it broad. Who is your top five rappers?
Top five. I'm gonna give you my top five of today because my top five always changes. But
Okay.
for today, which some of these cats still stay on the list even if it's tomorrow. I'm gonna go Jay. No order.
Yeah, no
Jay,
order.
Nas, Biggie. I'm gonna go Three Stacks, and I'm gonna go Rakim. That's my five.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my five, man.
Oh, I can't be
Yeah.
mad at the list, but I'm mad at the list a little bit. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Uh,
Okay.
Drake's my favorite artist, and we can get
I'm not
into that
mad
in
at
a second.
that.
Drake's my favorite artist. You know, he's still here. Nokia's still ringing off. I know everybody tried to ruin him after the beef. We still
Yeah,
standing. Um, but no, outside of that though, I always think Most Def is a sleeper. I think people sleep on
definitely
Most
sleep.
Def. Is he a top five rapper? No, but I think he has arguably one of the best albums. I think it's called Black on Both Sides or Black is Love on Both Sides. It's an old album,
For
but
sure.
um, I can't get mad at Hove. I can't get mad at Hove. That's a good one. Rakim, I can see that because I also
Yeah.
think your criteria of top five could be different. Like you might like lyricists, you might have your own criteria behind that. So I'm be mad at that.
And even with
Um,
Rakim, I might switch him out for Common. Because I think Common don't get
no, he doesn't.
like he don't get enough like
So
you
you like
said with
lyrics? You
most.
like lyricists?
Yeah, I'm a
You're
big
a lyricist.
lyricist guy, man. Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
I can't be
And
mad
that's
at that
probably
then.
because of the writing thing, like,
Yeah, yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
listening intently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's probably that's probably the writing thing for sure.
Yeah, if you like lyricists, then I mean that's very much a respectful top five. Then, I
Yeah,
Carter three, Wayne and before. That's an argument. Carter three,
it
Wayne and before.
is.
Not that's like after that though. Then yeah, obviously you kind of lost the plot.
Yeah,
Um, Biggie and Pac is always hard for me. My only argument sometimes, and it's God bless the dead, is because they died so early.
true.
Um, we don't know the trajectory of where their career actually would have went. They were both ahead of their time. Um,
Facts.
but similar to Nipsey, who was one of my favorites too, their music to me felt more popular after the fact, and you don't know the
Hmm.
trajectory of where the album or the projects would have went as rapping progressed. Maybe not Nipsey, not so much because I mean he was in current times. But I think about when people talk about Pac and Biggie, especially, it's just kind of like we don't know how they would have transcended to this 2000 plus era with 50 and all those other people. 50 is not
Yeah,
in my top five, but 50 is one of my favorites. Uh,
I'm not mad at that.
yeah, so that's
50,
but you being
50
from
was a
Detroit, man,
phenomenon.
he was. But you being from Detroit, man, y'all are a music city.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
I always like to ask this question because I like to get perspective on like, people and where they're from. Like, what is one thing about Detroit and being from Detroit that you think people kind of overlook?
I think hustle, and I know that's crazy to say because everybody say hustle, everybody talks about this word, but I think people don't really understand like how hard we work in Detroit. Like
Yeah.
you would be hard pressed to not find somebody who has their hands on like nine different things. Like
Hmm.
during the from the 50s to the 70s, the
Hmm.
factories, Chrysler, Ford, GM, my grandmother worked at the factory and had a food truck outside the factory. So she was slinging dinners at the factory that she worked for. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? And that was in the 70s. So, like,
Hmm.
like, we talk about hustle and grind, but again, like, I think that's a very underrated trait because people talk about it so much. They don't really understand. Like, you come here, you see people have two and three things going on at the same time, and it's innate because, when I would spend time at my grandma's crib, like on the weekends, we'd go to the number lady. Like she was still going to a number lady that took 3-digit and 4-digit lottery numbers on
Hmm.
loose leaf pieces of paper in the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Like she had probably been doing that already for 20 years
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
general.
yeah.
So I'm not just the only one. There's so many people with stories like that for family members, parents. So for me, I think hustle, like that's one of the biggest ones. And you see that with our football teams and basketball team. Like you see it kind of permeate the whole landscape of kind of what we represent here.
Yeah, and I'm actually from a sports side, I'm actually proud to see both of you guys, not both of you guys, both the teams actually doing well.
Yeah,
Especially the
me too.
Pistons.
Man,
The Pistons has been such
especially
a
the
long
Pistons.
time coming.
Bruh. Oh my God.
I know y'all have
A
been in
long time
basketball
coming.
playoff. Y'all been in basketball playoff purgatory with them. Um,
Lot of
and
lot of long nights over the years.
oh yeah, but I think that, but also again, I think the team represents the city. Uh,
Yeah.
I I got them beating the Knicks personally.
Oh, for
Obviously,
sure.
it's just it's youth versus experience, but I do like the team. And the Lions naturally just because J-Mo's on the team, Jamison Williams. Uh,
Yeah.
he's from the city, so we naturally we supporting that by
Oh, for
nature.
sure.
And also good team. I thought you guys should win the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. We're not gonna talk about that. I know that's a sore spot.
Oh man. I don't think I talked to Mike for 3 days after that. I swear I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't call my mentor for a week. I let him like kind of sit with that. I was like, how you doing? Once the week went by, I was like, you're all right, because he's an avid Lions fan. Half our conversation during the season was about just the Lions and how he was so hopeful for them. So, it's a new year. Hopefully, you guys turn it around.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we will. We got a tough schedule, man. Like the NFL handed us like the toughest schedule
it's
of
because you
our
guys
road
kept winning.
games.
It's because
Yeah.
you kept winning. That's
They
why.
like we gonna go ahead and test y'all again, man.
Yeah,
But I think we're gonna fare well this year for sure.
100%.
I think so.
I want to go back into the writing piece because you mentioned AI.
Yeah,
Uh, just from your perspective, I know some people are artists and they're sensitive about their stuff, but a lot of people are getting
yeah.
into the space of using AI. What's your thoughts on AI in writing? Are you against it? Are you for it? Where you see this going in a sense of media and journalism? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm for it, man. I think I heard Brian Michael Cox say this, but every generation is a new tool. You know what I'm saying? Like we have something new come around all the time. Like because we streaming music don't mean they're not still printing up albums anymore on, you know, CDs or other mediums to distribute the music
Yeah.
itself. Like AI is the tool for me. I don't use AI to write, but I definitely use it for editing purposes because I can admit I've never been like the strongest editor. Like
Right.
editing is the bane of my existence. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So for me, I use AI all the time as a tool because it's like it's either you embrace it or you're gonna get ran over by it. And if
Right.
you are insecure about your job being taken or certain things happening because of AI, then in my opinion, you need to go back to the foundations of why you started something in the first place, why you got into this career space in the first place, because like we understand that AI is going to make and it is making certain processes easier, but at the same time, like your skill set is still that just doesn't evaporate because
Yeah.
AI came into the picture. So for me, I embraced AI years ago because there were these editing softwares that started to come out around
Yep.
2016,
Yep.
2017. So,
Hmm.
so for me, like when I started seeing Chat GPT and like all these other platforms coming out, I'm like, oh, they just catching up,
Yep.
because some of us been using AI. So for me, I'm not threatened by it. I talk about it a lot in my business because certain people are just like a deer in headlights. They're like, oh, we don't know what this may turn into. It may take my job. So I've been doing a lot of phone consultations with people and saying, hey, just slow down. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And just give it a try alongside the other processes you have. If you're not the strongest copywriter and you're running a bakery business, maybe you need to use AI to write certain things out. And then you check it over and then you put your elements of your business into that AI copy. Like you don't have to like be afraid of something that's inanimate. It's an inanimate object. It's a tool that we use to make our lives easier. Like we got
Yep.
phones that are in our hand. You are old enough to know this, but there was a time where you couldn't browse the internet on your phone. You know what I'm
No.
saying? There was a
No, you
time where
couldn't.
you had to wait until somebody got off the phone to get on the
You get on
internet
the
with
phone.
dial-up.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
for me, yeah, AI is something that I'm fully embracing. It's something that I talk to a lot of hiring managers, copy editors, executive editors about in the business because I don't want to be late to the party, but I know some of these individuals that are sitting in these positions in these media corporations may be a tad bit late to the party because
Yeah.
they feel as though that, it doesn't need to be, it's gonna go away. It ain't going away.
It's not going away.
It's not going
It's
nowhere.
it's not, man.
Nah, man.
You really just gotta embrace it, man. Because,
Yeah,
I think the first platform, maybe probably the first one you probably saw too, was Grammarly. Yeah,
absolutely. That's the one.
Grammarly in 2016 and 17 when I was still in college,
I was like,
man.
what?
This is amazing. So yeah, and you can always see when a clock is turning, uh,
You can.
and it's like see, sometimes it's like the old fashioned way of being like, those young people are trying to create a shortcut. It's just also like, this point in time, especially I can imagine in media, I would assume that everybody's trying to be first. I feel like that's usually the first thing
Oh
that
yeah,
people
for
try to
sure.
do. And so yeah, you gotta
Everybody.
kind yeah, so you got to try to find a way to get it out quick enough so you can be that first click and that first view. Speaking on that, do you think the integrity of journalism has changed because of the need to be first?
1,000%. 1,000%. I coin myself as the man hollering at the sky because I see all types of stuff, and I give my commentary. I had to stop myself from arguing with people on Instagram because, not to say this in an egotistical way, but I know better, right? And I get paid to know better as
Yeah.
well. So nowadays we are seeing things from yesteryear come back into play and
Hmm.
it be repackaged as if it was something that came out last night. And even with my media trained eyes, I have to double take and I have to do some research real quick. Just bring something up. I'm like, okay, cool. That was from 2018. And they bringing it to 2025 and trying to make it relevant again. It's a lot of that. And our algorithms know that. So that's why if you go on YouTube and you go through reels, I want to say at least 60% of the reels that you see are not reels that were made this year. These were pieces of YouTube clips that were chopped up and made before, but the
Hmm.
algorithm knows that you like to go back and look at old videos. So you're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of that now. So
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. The integrity, because you're trying to be first, is pretty much severed. And also this push that journalists don't need to be in the space. Everybody's a journalist. No disrespect, but Cam said, I'm the new journalist. How? You know what I'm saying? How are you the new journalist, dog? Like, there is nothing about you that says that you're the new journalist, and I respect it is what it is. I have no issue with that platform. I get a lot of laughs. In fact, they say I look like Mace. They've been saying I look like Mace for the past
Yeah.
25 years. You know what, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Cam and Mace. But when he was on the complex list and he was like, I'm the new journalist, I was one of the first ones in the comment section, like, I beg to differ, because that is just not a title that you can say. Like, you have to uphold that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I embrace all traditions of media from yesteryear to now,
Right.
podcast, streaming services,
Hmm.
streamers. But when you call yourself a journalist, a lot
Yeah.
of times people hang to your every word. And I'm not going to mention some of the streamers that do their own version of research and put it out there to try to be first. But that waters down the industry in a lot of ways, because a lot of it ends up being having to be backtracked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of backtracking nowadays where it's like, oh, we didn't mean to put this out. What we actually really meant to say was this. And that's not just with our community, that is also in higher levels of government and all other industries as well. It's a lot of retracting statements nowadays because it's a rush for everybody to be first, but everybody isn't accurate and factual in being first.
Yeah. No, that's the Mace line got me. Now I'm stuck on that. But I can imagine though, as a yeah, as a journalist, that's what I talked to my boy about, who's like, I know he went through it. I told him all the time, I'm not a journalist at all. I don't have any aspirations to be a journalist. I just enjoy
Yeah,
conversations. It's just what I do. Don't want to be in the media unless they throw in a
right,
bag and maybe
right.
it's a perfect opportunity. I don't want any of that.
Yeah,
No, because to me, it is an art form that I've learned to respect, which is why I do it. It's a grind, man. So yeah, there's people who
sure.
already when people already got the platforms because of other ventures, I could very much understand how frustrating that could be for a journalist who tries to get it out the mud to face a known rapper, but not a rapper that's left a true legacy. But either way, just any
Yeah,
notoriety, it's just, it can be frustrating when you got people really out here that really went through the whole process behind it. So I get
for
that. You
sure.
mentioned politics, and I
Yes,
just
sir.
wanted to spin to it for a second. I really don't care about politics as much, but from a journalistic aspect, I'm always intrigued. Uh, because you covered politics, I think, during an interesting time. Whether it was
Hmm.
last election, election before. What was the biggest thing you learned in that space of covering any form of politics? I know you mentioned being non-biased earlier, but what was like the biggest thing you
Yeah.
learned just being in that realm and space?
The biggest thing I learned is these people in politics, a lot of times they really believe what it is that they're saying. There was a politician, she's a Republican. I won't mention her name, but I did so many stories on her because she would tweet the most outlandish things. She had the most craziest sound bites. So for me as a journalist, I was glad because I was always with a story, because that's the thing.
Right.
You want to always keep a story out there. So she provided me plenty of ammunition. But when I started doing further research, I'm like, oh no, she really believes this stuff that she's saying. So for me, like, I learned like these people are dead set on their beliefs. It's
Yeah.
very hard to change their minds, which is why a lot of times, when we try to meet, well, when they say meet across the aisle, and sign these laws, there are all of these holdups and potentials of government shutdowns and filibusters. It's simply because these people are locked into their beliefs and they aren't willing to compromise for the sake of others, for the betterment of others.
Yeah.
So from like doing all of these stories, having to reach out to people, it made me really say to myself, like, oh no, these aren't just lawmakers. These people were probably believing these things even before they became a lawmaker. Maybe they were a college student, or maybe they before college were in grade school and they saw a grandmother or a parent start to talk a certain way about politics, and then they just took those things and propelled themselves to the position that they sit in. So
Right.
that was the thing for me, like the belief that these people have, on either side of the aisle, whether you're Democrat, Republican,
Yeah.
Independent, you know, whatever these people believe, that's what they truly believe.
Believe.
Because you'll see, you'll read something, you'll be like, no, ain't no way, ain't no way. No, it's a way.
Way.
They really believe that. You know what I'm saying? I've called people and they've been like, oh, I stand by that statement. I'm not changing it. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do my job and
Yeah.
you have a great day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because people be thinking like, no, it's just no way that they could think like that. Yes, it is. And it don't just start in politics. It really it's a whole process that begins that type of mindset that they have.
Lord. That's funny 'cause I do believe that they believe what they say. And I guess you got to.
Yeah.
In politics, you gotta be a little delusional. So I'm not mad at
Facts.
that. It's just funny to think. Um, okay, so I got two more questions for you. The first
No, no
question,
problem, man.
what would you say is your future outlook? Like what exactly is your next step desires and goals and being in the space?
Man, for me, I definitely still want to be a part of, a lot of news organizations and contribute. Definitely want to keep building my business. I actually started getting into boxing content last year, and that has been doing really well. And for me, I started getting a lot of PR stuff in the mail, like people wanted me to try stuff and review it. And it just took on a life of its own. Like I just started putting unboxing content out there. I
Mhm.
got some people that I'm talking to where I'm creating content for them because I just, again, just that whole mindset of not wanting to be known just as the journalist. Like I want
Right.
to be able to show a lot of my personality, and I get to do a lot of that with my unboxing content. But mentorship is really at the heart of what I'm doing at this point. Like, because I know a lot of young journalists, they want to get into this space or marketing or podcasting, but they don't really have a mentor. They don't really have somebody that looks like them, that is from the same area that they from to just guide them. I didn't have any mentors really when I started. One guy, Amir Shaw, shout out to my guy Amir Shaw. Like when I was at Rolling Out, he was my source. He was the person that really introduced me to a national stage because he would have so many assignments and then he would give me some of his assignments, but
Yeah.
I didn't really have like a mentor to be in my ear, like, no, this is how you talk when you go into a news conference. These are the type of questions that you ask. So for me, I want to get into the mentorship space. I've already wrote two books a few years ago about media and journalism, and
Dope.
I'm looking to get those into some colleges and universities. Appreciate that. And I want to speak. I want to definitely do a lot of speaking over the next few years. Definitely be on some panels. I've done a lot of panels and speaking before, but the pandemic came and that kind of went away. So now I'm looking to get back into that space as well.
Yeah. No, I'm in a very similar sphere. That's why it's always weird when I connect with you guys. It's like there's so much of an alignment. So yeah, no, I'm
It's the same
yeah,
thing.
because
Yeah.
I've written two books, and I'm working on my third one
Nice.
now. But
Dope.
most of the things I speak into is in the space of education and mental health. So
Yeah.
once you get, 'cause I've done two conferences. Once you get like that one or two engagement thing, you start getting the
You
itch, and
get the
you want to go.
bug.
Yeah, I'm
You
trying to
get the
find the next
bug,
one
man.
right now because
Yeah.
it's just you see so many opportunities when you get into that space, man. So I hope all those things happen for you. I won't even say I hope. I know they will.
Thanks, man.
At
Likewise.
his right time. And so my final question for you, man, as I ask everybody else before we wrap up, is what does it mean to be human to you?
Man. Being human to me means embracing who you are with all of the flaws that you have. Like I had talked about earlier, imposter syndrome. One quote that I came up with, the personal one, was sometimes you have to let the dog out to roam. And that came from me
Mm.
really saying to myself, like, hey, like when a dog has a home and they have, a cage and they have family who loves them and food to eat, a dog can get comfortable. But until you let that dog away from all of the things that gives it comfort, it can never understand how it means and what it means to survive. So
Yeah.
for me, because a lot has happened in these last 8 months, I've been that individual where I've had to go back and look at all of the things that I did, and
Yeah.
then all of the things that I've done, and all of the things that I will continue to do. So for me, being human means understanding that you are a human, right? You have good days, you have bad days, you have days when you feel like you look in the mirror, you like, man, the gym been working. Then you look in the mirror, some days you like, God damn, man, I'm saying, maybe I need to delete the DoorDash app. Like all of that conceptualize you
Good
being
stuff, man.
a human. And we got to see, I think we starting to see more people be human, whether that's everyday people like you and me, or it may be a celebrity that just, may post something and then you like, dang, like this person just like me, or any mentor that you may have. So me being human, it really means understanding that you are flawed, you will fall, but at the
Mm.
same time, that's a part of the process. Like
Yeah.
we didn't come here as these beings that just has it all together. Otherwise, we could have been up out of here a long time ago. Like life is a whole journey. So you
Nah,
got to see this mug through from start
yeah.
to finish. And that's what I tell myself all the time. Like, all right, dog, just because we have a bad moment, so what? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and let's process and keep it moving. Another
Mhm.
thing I say to myself is don't make a house out of your emotions. Go ahead and you go on the front porch. Open the door. But don't sit in the room of despair, depression, and anxiety. Because again, I didn't done all of that. So for
Mhm.
me, these are some of the things that I live by, and that's what makes me human, man.
That was a good answer, man. I mean, that was a great answer.
Thank you, man.
I love that, and the sayings and the quotes because it's all true.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes we do gotta let the dog out of the room. Life
Yeah.
is all about embracing uncertainty and everything that comes with it, man. So
Yes, sir.
that was great. This conversation was great. Uh,
Man,
and
thank you, man. Thank you for
I
this.
no, of course, bro. I mean, it's like I said, I really get joy in these things, and I can see the sense of fulfillment in some of you guys' faces when it's all said and done. Because it's I always say the easiest thing to do is to find ways to support people at the expense of nothing. If anything, a conversation or a potential relationship gets formed from that. If
I
not, I
agree,
am just
brother.
one of the many stops of the stops that you'll take and just glad to be a part of that. That's all that really matters to me, man. But for those who can find you on social media, man, where can they find you?
So Instagram, Andre J. Ellington, my business page, Waves, WAEDS 313. Those are the two places that you can find me the most, man. And on YouTube as well, unboxing with Andre J if you want some unboxing content. And yeah, that's it, man. Those are the three things. I had a website, but people was like, man, we don't care about your website. We on your Instagram. So I stopped paying the website fee a while ago. So you can find me at those three places the most.
Yeah, Instagram is the new website, man. Well, hey, Andre, I
Yeah.
appreciate you joining. For those who
Likewise,
listen and who
Rashad. Thank you.
listen, of course, man, for those who listen and who will be listening, all his information will be in the link description. Make sure to give him a follow and all that good stuff, man. This has been another episode, Knowing is Knowing. Appreciate you guys. Till next time.